Welcome to Diversity, a podcast with amazing people, brilliant minds, great thoughts, and fabulous inclusive cultures, brought to you by the Confederation of Indian Industry and Avtar, which has been powering workplace cultures for the past 25 years. And in today's episode of Diversity, we have with us Tarun Sareen, Managing Director, Sun Life Global Solutions, and the person who plays a pivotal role in driving value creation and strategic advantage for Sun Life across not just India, but the Philippines and Vietnam as well. Tarun, welcome to Diversity. It's wonderful to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saundarya, for having me, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Hardcore techie, someone who has done his Bachelor of Engineering from VJTI India and Master of Science in Electrical Engineering and Computer Engineering from Marquette University, USA. Tarun, your journey, your trajectory has been absolutely brilliant from a strong STEM standpoint. The kind of assignments that you've had right in the beginning with Capgemini and then with GE, where you've gotten into hardcore tech stuff and then moved on to Microsoft and then from there to Barclays and then to EMC and then to Deutsche and now for the past 4 years and 5 months with Sun Life Global Solutions. Did you, as a young kid, maybe, even let's say at the time you were imagining that you're going to be doing your BTech, did you imagine that this kind of a absolutely multifaceted, very, very enriching career would be yours?
Thank you so much for the question. Obviously, I did not think of it in the terms that is actually manifested. But coming from a family where there were so many leaders, my dad was obviously in the corporate world, but leaders for the community and so on and so forth, we were always asked to stay grounded and rooted. However, we were also asked to think about the biggest dreams we could possibly think of. So from that standpoint, as a young kid, I dreamt of some big things for sure, probably even bigger than I've achieved actually so far, right? So certainly there was this, as a young boy, like, as young kids, we all dream and we are encouraged in my household to dream big. So we used to dream big, but act on what's in front of us, whether it's getting good marks in class or getting into the right college, and the idea was do maximize your potential, right? Don't worry so much about the results, but put in the hard work to make sure that you are realizing your potential. So I like to believe that whatever happens is an indication of our potential. So I'm happy with whatever happens.
Fantastic. Tarun, I am reminded of this awesome keynote conversation you and I had, at the Power of I last year in Gurgaon. And I remember you mentioning, we both were talking about why there is a need for women in corporate, women in the workplace, not just specifically women in the financial services space, but generally the Indian woman professional and why she is required in larger numbers. And I remember sharing with you this whole point of the fact that women should work because it's patriotism. It's just that you need to work because every woman, every individual has to contribute to the growth of our country. And I remember you're talking about how much of a patriotic family you come from, a family where everybody has that deep love for the country, and therefore, what can we do to make sure that we develop this beautiful country of ours? I want you to talk a little bit about those influences on you as a child while growing up, which I think today has really influenced the way you are as a leader, uh, Tarun. Could you just share with our viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, happy to share. I think for me, the one great part of my childhood, and I would like to think of it as a very beautiful part of my childhood, was being born in the family I was born in. There were stories of valor, courage all across. But what is common in all of those stories, and I still recount some of these stories whenever the timing is right to my kids, is the causes. My grandfather, my grandmom, great grandfather, they stood for causes like freedom struggle, um, like untouchability, for example. They were quite celebrated leaders in north of India, so they wanted to role model what they thought was the right thing for the country and for the society. They given their lives for the country, although they were very successful businessmen. There was a lot of wealth in the family. They housed people. At any given point in time, there were 100 families living with us. It was a huge, huge house. It's a hospital now. Um, so the selflessness is the other thing that I saw. Causes. Obviously, a bigger cause makes you selfless because you devote yourself to a cause, whether it's a societal cause or a freedom struggle, and then walking on the path of truth and principles. So it was a tough journey. My great grandfather was sent to Kalapani, the Andaman, the worst prison you could go to. Probably my father tells me that was the only time when he came back, he took 4 weeks rest to just recover, then again start fighting for the country. So I saw a lot of boldness. I saw uh, people applying their lives to causes. So I did not see fear in the family. So that was one good, very rare thing, I think. I used to sometimes ask my dad, don't you fear? Don't you fear that you're going to go to this factory where there have been death threats on you? None of your direct reports are going. Won't you? What if you don't come back? He said, maybe I won't come back, but it's my factory, and I'm the leader. It was Siemens factory actually in Calcutta, and I have to be there. And he was stabbed, was taken to the hospital. He got bandaged. Again, went back to the factory. So sometimes people who are fearless, people around them, the family gets more fearful. So, but I think the point I'm trying to make is the stories that I saw or the incidents that I saw and the stories that I heard were around causes, selflessness, principles, boldness, and living life with a sense of pride. Often I was told that we are fighting for India, but this whole world is ours,
Ah,
right? So it was really about,
Vasudhaiva
yes, today
Kutumbakam.
what's in front of us is India,
Yeah.
but if it was some other country, so be it. But the whole world is, so don't limit yourself to only patriotism. You know, is what I was told. But yeah, sometimes patriotism is what's upon you. So you do that well.
Well, this, it clearly demystifies to our podcast viewers why Tarun Sareen works the way he does. Why does he have this characteristic brand of leadership, which is very visible? I still remember when you all came and you were winning that award, there was this huge group of people that came along with you. And I still remember that there was a person who had driven that whole inclusion agenda who had quit and joined elsewhere. And he came too to celebrate it along with you. And you
Yes,
had invited him simply because he had done all the work for that process, which led Sun Life to the award. I mean, how amazing and inclusive can that be? I'm going to jump now into really one of the topics that you absolutely love, which is inclusion, inclusive leadership, and the fact that every organization, and of course, needless to mention the one that you held, leverages the power of diversity completely fully. And I know that you have voiced eloquent about this on many platforms, and we are aware of your very strong ideas about how cultures have to be vibrant with inclusion, with adaptability. And I think it is very clearly kind of, falls into place when one hears the childhood and the influences that you've had personally. So, my question to you is this. Today, we watch, the whole world get into a tizzy because the three letters DEI are suddenly supposed to, mean something very different. And we are very, very well aware that inclusion actually means bringing together very, very different people making sure that organizations leverage that power, that complete focus of creativity, of dynamism, all of that. What has the Sun Life experience been? And how have you, I mean, how have you driven this vision of inclusive leadership, of that capability and agility to manage change so powerfully? Could you just share that with our viewers, Tarun?
No, thank you for that, Sandhya. I think we are still on the journey, but we are very committed to the journey. I would like to begin with very basics. Right? The world itself is diverse space, isn't it? Gender, LGBTQIA, right? The world is diverse. So it's only a matter of is does the workforce represent the world,
Yeah.
right? Does our workforce represent our clients, for example? Is the other way I can, cast it or put it as. And with that, shouldn't we be the people who foster inclusivity? I personally have felt what exclusion feels like as well. And to me, it was a very, very, it was the right experience, I would like to think, because growing up, I was in a very privileged household, right? I chauffeured even car to school, I was partying with the best in town, right? But it was still rooted in groundedness, but I was among, I was a very privileged community, way back in Pali Hill, Bandra, Mumbai, right? It was an amazing, amazing set of experiences I had. Um, but when I went to the workforce and I saw I was excluded as an Asian, I felt excluded. I was excluded, not being invited to a meeting. I sat outside because I wanted to be in the meeting. So I've had these experiences where I was certainly excluded, and I was asking myself, how do I respond to that? And my always response, my expectation from myself is a graceful, dignified response, sometimes tactical, but certainly strategic. How will I respond 6 months later? How will I respond 1 year later? How will I respond 3 years later? Especially if it matters to me. There are times when I have also felt anger and I've even expressed it because I thought that was the right tactical thing to do, to express it very clearly. And I've taken on the CEOs of the companies I've worked on as well. So the good thing is I don't see the fear of doing the right thing. Yes, after I've done all that, I think, man, what will happen? Will I have a job? But the next day, I'm the same person again. Sun Life has been beautiful. Sun Life has been excellent in terms of DEI. It's I think, apart from maybe one other company, it's probably the best company I work for in terms of diversity, equity focus, inclusivity. Our board is gender balanced, for example. There are, I don't know the stats, but 37, 40% plus women in senior leadership positions, more than I've seen in any other company I have worked in as well. So I think Sun Life has an amazing journey that's going on, and we got to
Sun
keep
Life
on
is
doing.
it's an Avatar and Seramount best company for women in India. It's one of the 100 best. So I really wanted to ask you, how does gender inclusion really kind of find its space in Sun Life? What is your vision as far as gender inclusion is concerned?
I think the vision is that there should be parity. We have to get to a gender balanced workforce. Um, the vision is that there's inclusion of in all aspects, including, I'm just speaking on one vector, transgenders, for example.
Mm.
Uh, the one of the four values of the company is care, and we care for our clients, we care for our communities, and we care for the countries in which we operate. And I think care is such a beautiful word, and it's also a word that has so many spokes, right? So I think caring about diversity, caring about inclusion is just the DNA of the company. And I think once you get this wheel turning, it just becomes very natural. But we don't take it for granted. There are positions when they open up, we make sure that we still make sure there's 50% women CVs or other CVs and 50% men. So the intake should be well balanced in terms of CVs and then interviews, and the panel should be right, and so on and so forth. Um, we look for biases. Twice a year we check for pay parity, make sure there is no pay parity. and so on and so forth. I think the other piece of the company is just highly caring in terms of helping people during key moments in life,
Mm.
right? And sometimes some of the key moments in life, having kids for men and women now, not only women, but men and women, they need time. And and if you appreciate life, you should appreciate the new life that has come in. So I think helping and organizing yourself around people who are going through some key moments in life and giving them the time, I think is super important. And then taking on some of the uh, as an individual, taking on, I don't call it hardship, but taking on the inconvenience for others. I think I have to do that as a leader. As much as sometimes you give a little bit tough time to a team in terms of work, when they need us as leaders and when they need us as colleagues, we have to be there for them. So that's my vision. My vision is that we become a very caring community. Obviously, it's performance driven,
Yeah.
but we become a very caring community where we help each other be their best and perform at their best, and also be kind and empathetic in terms of the time somebody would need and so on and so forth. So I like to see everybody do the best work of their lives when they are working in a company. I myself want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think giving each other feedback, for example, having expectations from each other. I have expectations from the senior leadership of the company, just like they have from me. And finally, what I would add is I expect every individual, and I know this is very idealistic, but I expect every individual to stand up for themselves. Because if they do, it makes my life much easier as a leader and as a human being, because it pains my heart when somebody cannot stand up for themselves. They tolerate things that they shouldn't be tolerating.
Always.
So I think Avtar helps as well, but I think we have to be those people where people are able to stand up for what they
Thank you.
believe. They're able to express themselves properly
Yeah.
as well. So that's so important in this world, and in many
Super.
ways, it's disintegrating. And if we can be the integrators,
Ah,
wonderful in a small way.
there are a lot of business owners and business leaders who watch this podcast, and as you know, CII has a huge number of such organizations who are its members. So, on behalf of organizations, which want to embed that culture of innovation, that culture of creativity, I want to ask you, what are some of those processes which Sun Life has successfully instilled, which kind of create that, which lead to innovation as a natural outcome, as something that happens very very organically? How does that work, Tarun?
I will absolutely answer that, but you will please allow me to ask you a question before we go forward, if that's all right, with your permission.
Totally okay, Tarun. Please go ahead, go for it.
Avtar enabled the very first recorded instance of a second career women program in India in 2006 for the Standard Chartered Bank,
Yes.
when second careers for women was practically unheard of, right? How did you come up with this? How did you manage this, Saundarya, and how did the event turn out?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that question. And Tarun, I'm touched that you have actually kind of noted it down, and you're actually talking about it amongst your notes. Well, you know, we had been talking about the potential of second career women for a very very long time. Ever since I started Avatar, which was in 2000, December 2000. So this December 2000, we are going to be 25. And here's an
Congratulations.
advance invitation to you to join our anniversary
Oh,
celebration
no, thank
whenever
you.
that
No,
is.
thank you.
Yeah. So when I had started it, the vision was to create a company that would enable more women to enter the workplace. And one very natural cohort that was staring us in the face, also because I happen to be part of one of those statistics, was that of the second career woman, the woman who drops off midway in her career due to marriage, maternity, lack of mobility, following an itinerant
Sure.
husband, whatever it be. And she then has this large break on her resume and then wonders how she can get back into the workplace. So we had been talking about it repeatedly, but we weren't able to land a sizable project where we could actually show proof that this is viable and you can get very talented women who have taken those breaks, they've stepped off, but they are keen to make it back, and this time they want to be successful at it. And that's when the project from Standard Chartered Bank came. This was for their Middle East phone banking office, which was in Chennai. So they said, why don't you folks, you've been talking about this for a very long time. And we want to hire about 150 people, women. And we really don't want to, complicate it by saying this is the experience, this, that, and all that. So you are free to actually assess women who have taken breaks in career, and that seems to be something you guys are passionate about. So go ahead and get us talented, articulate, professional women, and we don't care if they've taken a break in career, so long as they clear our entrance test and our group discussion, we are good. So this really, this was something unheard of for us, Tarun, in back in the day. And and the best part was, for a tiny MSME like us, they gave us a nice whopping advance, which was part of the project. So we were like, oh my God, this is awesome. And we're going to do all of this. And we booked this big hall on the fifth floor of one of the hotels in Chennai. And we were all set there. We had gone, given pamphlets, in various localities to housing associations and societies. We had gone and met the PTA associations of various schools, and handed over this little pamphlet flyer saying that if you want to come back into the workplace, here's a job, and we're not going to ask too much of you, just that you have great communication skills, written and oral, and you're able to do the job, which is from this time to this time. So we were hoping to have about 1,000 women walking, because we were looking at about filling about 150 positions. So we thought a 1:7, 1:8 ratio would be good, and 1,000 women walking in would help us. So 9:30 was when the walk-in was supposed to start, and it was 9:25. Not a single person had landed up.
Wow.
So we were absolutely in jitters, and we were a tiny team of some 8 of us. That was the total size of Avatar at that point of time. And we are looking around, and there's not a single woman. And these were the times, 2006, when only one of us could afford a mobile phone. It was not like today. So that one mobile phone was going crazy with the bill plan, because we were calling everybody and trying to, figure out where they were. And then suddenly we get a call from the reception of the hotel. And this lady, calls us and says, Madam, you know that, you're on the fifth floor and there is only one lift, right? And I said, yes, we know. What's the point? She said, please open the window of your fifth floor hall and look outside. We opened the window and we look outside into the road, Tarun. Thousands of women were there.
Wow. Wow. What a sight would have been. What a sight would have been, especially
Wow.
when you see no one's arriving yet, and suddenly you open the window and the truth is something else.
Yeah. And it was this huge group of women. We had 2,500 women or so walk in. And we
Wow.
filled that 150 positions, and then Standard Chartered went on to give us project after project. I think we would have placed about 1,000 women in Standard Chartered alone over a period of a year. Yeah. Bangalore, Chennai, various locations. So thank you for asking me. It took me down memory lane.
No, that's such a great story, and it's such a thing is so much needed. I was looking at the World Economic Forum reports,
Yeah.
and if you look at women as investors, what they are seeing is that over 80% of women are comfortable with short-term financial planning, and only 20% are comfortable with long-term financial planning as investing and insurance. And if more and more women participated as investors, there's going to be big benefits to the world. Almost 3.2 trillion worth of capital is going to get further unlocked. Women are better than men at investment, is a report from WEF, and I believe it. They are twice as likely to incorporate things like ESG and think about giving back to the community than men. So we want more and more women to be investors. Obviously, we talked about women to be represented more and more in the workforce, even in especially in senior leadership positions. But I wanted to cite that out. So I think what you did with Stand Chart and what you've been doing since then and since the last 25 years and more is just helping this cause that we all share. And we'd like to see more and more of this happen. I'll tell you one story. I was interviewing someone in my office. She came to my office and I interviewed her, and I asked her a little bit about what's your, one of the questions we ask people is what's your personal purpose or what's your values, professional values, and so on and so forth, and what's your passion. And as she was recounting her values, she said, Tarun, I won't be sitting here had I not pushed my dad. My dad did not want me to get educated. Once I got to school, he didn't want me to go to college. She was from, I think, Haryana or a village in Haryana. And she said that she doesn't certainly want me to work. And I kept on pushing and kept on pushing. And so I'm here. I'm among the first women in the family to actually go and work in a corporate setting. So even in 24, such a thing can happen. Saundarya was quite enlightening for me, right? So I think India is a multitude of cultures and traditions, and some of them need to be further expanded. But thank you for sharing the story. I will answer your culture on innovation.
Thank you.
I actually think that innovation and continuous improvement and respecting advancements, whether it's advancements in certain economic trends, whether it's advancements in demographics or advancement in technology, which it's all upon us, a company has to respect that. So a company must respect continuous improvement, must respect innovation, and leverage technology, know about the trends that affects their own industry and business. So innovation has to be a lifeblood of a company, is how I see it. And I think there's so many things in Sunlight that we do well. We obviously we have practices around ideation, whether it's hackathons and so on and so forth. We have increasingly going into a workforce that is agile. So they have squads, small squads, and they run their own show. So they know the business problem to be solved, and they convert that, if you take, they convert that into technology features or what needs to be delivered to be able to solve the business problem. And as part of that process, come up with innovations that so business has not asked for yet. We also go and actively have a team that looks for what's out there in terms of startups. At any given point in time, we are looking at 50 to 100 startups and seeing what they're doing and seeing if any of those solutions really help us take better care of our clients, right? Given the business we are in. So there's outside-in innovation. There's innovation from inside. We expect every employee to think about at least a continuous improvement idea, no matter what your role. In our organization of SLGS, every year we come up with 6,000 plus ideas, and 40 to 50% of those get implemented as well. So giving employees sandboxes or mechanisms to take an idea to implementation is also important. And then encouraging. This year we are thinking of we have started and we have to design it better. Failure awards, right? If somebody's gone after a big problem, taken a big risk, the nice kind of problems to solve for, and still hasn't worked out, we want to congratulate the person and on the learnings that because that learnings can be plowed in and the success can come later. So I think just having that kind of a culture of innovation, a culture of continuous improvement, a culture that expects everybody to be creative without pressure. So we don't put pressure, but we certainly encourage more and more people to be creative individually as well as a part of teams. And you see a lot of these problem-solving hackathons, you can call it.
Yeah.
We call it Gembas as well, design thinking. All of these are just tools for us to get better. We sometimes set targets. Hey, if this job can be done with 30% less people, let's go for it, or same people can do 30% more. So I think those are the kind of things that has helped us in terms of innovation. And the whole company actually goes towards business relevant innovation as well. So outside innovation and inside innovation from the inside as well. So
that was awesome.
It's a good journey, and it's continuously every year we are seeing the number of ideas and ideas implemented increase. So I think we're on a good path.
Lovely. 2 points struck me as you were speaking. One is this whole innovation squad, that you have these
Yeah.
small teams which attack a problem and, kind of actually even anticipate it even before business faces it.
Yes.
That's brilliant. And in fact,
We measure ourselves on it.
sorry?
Have we delivered? We measure ourselves on it. Have we
Yeah.
delivered? And we don't set targets. We're just measuring and publishing. Hey, we delivered these 10 things the business didn't ask for, but the business really appreciates, and it is part of their top priorities, meaning it moves some of their goals, it adds to some of the goals. So we started measuring ourselves on it. We're not setting a target yet. We want it to be a culture. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to deliver something before it's asked.
Super. Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I was reminded of the fact that, Gmail was created actually in the spare innovation time of Google's main team. And
Yeah.
they actually identify and allocate 20% of everybody's FTE for innovation related brainstorming, ideas, just sort of, generating everything and then, hitting the team with it and then picking the ones that can actually work. Gmail was one of those. The second point that really struck me was your wisdom and failure. We have these sessions here at Avatar called the WIF sessions, the wisdom
Okay.
and failure sessions.
Mhm.
And what we actually do, and see, our work is relating to transforming cultures, Tarun. So we face tremendous amounts of challenges when we go ahead and do it. So
Mhm.
it's very important for the team to stay on course, for them not to give up. So we realized that more and more people were feeling very bad and very guilty and somewhat defensive about trying new things, which can get companies to become more inclusive and for change to be accepted. So we said, let's just legitimize failure. So let's
Wonderful.
actually have these sessions called WIF sessions,
Wonderful.
wisdom and failure. And
Wonderful.
because yeah, so I'm taking away a lot from the innovation
I
squad.
might copy that shamelessly from you. Wisdom in failure. It sounds very, very good because there is wisdom in failure and wisdom from failure as well. And I'll give you the analogy my dad used to give me. He said, if when you go to war, right, the enemy fears, and here the enemy is, laxity. The enemy is laziness. The enemy is, doing the same things in the old same way versus, architecting the future, right? We should all be architecting a future personally and professionally, right? So my dad used to tell me, and I really believe it, and I really see it. When you go to a war, the enemy fears a general who has a maximum scars, not the decorated people, the maximum scars, because though that guy or gal has fought and won and survived at least many, many battles.
Oh
If you
wow.
go very polished, all crisp iron suits, you're not feared. You're feared if you have scars. So I think failure can give you those well-earned scars, and and then you can gold plate your
But
scars,
you
right?
have to get up and fight again. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You have to earn more scars.
We have, apart from the four values, we have a value called bold, being bold, and that resonates very well with me and with the family. Obviously, you want to be wise about where you want to be bold, but that, I think that it's very important to know that you will fail, you will face some humiliation if you want to do some great things. Nobody I know who succeeded big time has not been through some very challenging circumstances. So I think it's good to know, and we're all on a journey. And I think expressing your creativity is celebrating life, and one must celebrate life versus conform.
Absolutely. Tarun, I know that, we are upon a clock and I have to, kind of let you go quickly, but not before you answer the rapid fire round.
Oh God, okay, the one I'm most scared about. Okay, all right.
Well, these are all things you will ace. So I don't think there's anything. And this conversation has been incredibly enriching so far. So I'm really hoping that, our viewers have more to take away from you via the rapid fire round. First question: a workplace trend that you're excited about?
Rising innovation.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would have only expected that. Yeah. My second question: a misconception that people often have about your industry.
That's a hard one for me to answer, but I would say that it viewing my industry, meaning the financial services industry,
Yes,
let's
the
say
financial
insurance
services
industry,
industry.
let's say
Yes.
insurance industry, viewing it from the lens of Sun Life, I would say let there be no misconception that a company like Sun Life, I'm sure there are other companies similar, are about purpose and about caring. I think I think that's something that I would want to make sure that I
Absolutely.
is I see it and I know this, so I need to share this with the world who chooses to listen to us. That yes, this is a company about truly caring for our clients and doing the right thing.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, here comes the last one. The one thing you wish you had more time for.
So I'll go back to the first question. I would say innovation and purpose. That's a trend, workplace trend. I see more and more companies becoming purpose oriented, and I love that. I know the purpose of my great grandfather's company. I still have that letterhead. So I think purpose orientedness is amazing for the business world. The one thing I wish I have more time for is just visioning of the future, architecting the future more, coming up with more creative ideas, and then connecting a lot of people together for causes.
Oh,
I
lovely.
wish I had more time for that. Right? There's so much you can do beyond Sun Life as well. So I wish I had more time for that. Just connecting and making some great things happen for our community.
Okay, so that's a wrap on this episode. And Tarun, I can't even begin telling you what a pleasure it was hosting you at Diversity. And as always, no surprises. Every word spoken by you, every thought that you articulated was so rich with learning. And I'm really hoping that many young leaders, businessmen, businesswomen, startups, and generally anybody who wishes to create a purpose led, innovative institution, a purpose led, value rich, value enriched
Yes.
organization should watch this episode of Diversity. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Saundarya. It's been such a pleasure and such a privilege. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Folks, that brings us to an end of this episode of Diversity, where we had the amazing experience of engaging with Tarun Sareen, Managing Director of Sun Life Global Solutions, someone who shared with us his passion for innovation, for creativity, and for a culture of genuine, authentic leadership. Stay tuned to watch more such episodes where we bring you real leaders fostering real change. Thank you.